Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm joined by Steve Garrison, SVP of Marketing at Stellar Cyber.
Great, Sajid. It's great to meet you and meet your audience today.
Right. So, Stellar Cyber is a company that has quite become one of the most recognized and awarded AI-driven players in security technology today. And Stellar Cyber has been named as one of the top AI companies of 2025 and the only cybersecurity company on that list recognized alongside unicorn level AI innovators outside security. They've also won the Cyber Security Breakthrough Award for Security Automation Solution of the Year and climbed dramatically in influence among managed service security service providers, rising to the number two vendor in MSSP Standard Top 250. And Steve, as the marketing leader there, has been central in shaping the story of the brand that's trying to do something real, not buzzword, in a world where everyone says AI and few deliver clarity. Thank you, Steve, for joining us today.
Welcome. Thank you for that wonderful intro as well.
Of course. Let's start
Welcome.
with something very profound, Stephen. You have spent years operating at the intersection of, let's say, technology, growth, and storytelling, right? And when you kind of look back, what actually shaped how you think about marketing today?
Actually, it was my roots in physics and math and science, Sajid. And earlier in marketing, we didn't use math as much as we do today, but everything today is about analysis, attribution, lead source, funnel flow, velocity, acceleration. So data is key, and I feel very comfortable with data because I grew up as an engineer with data.
Wow, wow, that's so true. I think today, data-driven marketing is the front and center, right? With so much experimentation going on, it's not easy. And I'm sure that your background from math and science helped you kind of get hold of numbers
Yeah,
better than someone who didn't have that kind of a background. And if you see every brand today says that they are cutting through the noise, right? Most aren't, right?
yeah.
And from and from your seat, right? Why is it so hard for companies to earn real attention today?
Yeah, well, I think it's the market's changed and the influencing has changed, and so marketing has to change, right? So what I mean by that is, and I'm going to quote somebody I don't know if you follow Sajid, but his name is Jay McBain at Canalys. It's a research group now part of Informa, but he has a theory that there's 28 steps to the form, and we all want that form fill out so that we know credentials to either nurture or call. It's up to you. But we can come back to that. But long story short, if there's 28 steps to the form, where should I spend my money? Should I put big airport ads up like Barracuda did in the 90s? Or should I do very targeted digital influence campaigns? Right? Well, that's obviously the answer. It's easy to say, it's harder to do. But so the problem I've solved, and I think the problem everybody needs to solve, Sajin, is stop trying to brand yourself for everybody.
Right.
Find your ecosystem, find your community, and brand within that. Don't try to boil the ocean, right? Again, go back in the 60s when Mad Men, I don't know if you watched Mad Men, great show on HBO about the birth of advertising on Madison Avenue. But, back then branding was you put up a sign, you're in a magazine, people watched only 3 TV stations, right? So it was easier to brand because there were less ways to influence people. Today, there are millions of ways to influence people. So it doesn't make sense to brand the ocean anymore. You've got to brand a stream or a pond.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah.
and it's so true that when you are branding to everybody, you're
Yeah.
branding to nobody, right? So
It's right.
pick up that
Right.
one pick up that one problem and then kind of double down on that problem, right? Double down on that use case. I even
Yeah.
remember in the olden days when they put an ad, they would call like attention homemakers or attention housewives. So so
Yeah.
basically call out the target audience. Today it's very different. Today you have all these demographic and targeting criteria and all that is much easier. But I
Yeah.
think it's really important that you kind of zero down on that user group, right? People
Yeah.
have that buying trigger, and that's kind of changing today. And I see that there is a lot of shift in the way the marketing is done today. And what is that one uncomfortable truth about B2B marketing that most teams avoid admitting?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure they're there yet. I know I am, Sajjan, and I know where you are because I read your, that's how we met. I, I don't think terms like account-based marketing, and I think even the term B2B is misleading, right? People buy products, companies don't buy products.
I
And
agree.
again, if we go back to the nonlinearity of the funnel, the 28 steps, imagine in the 90s, we say there were 5 or 10 decision makers and we need to get them all aligned and we need specific content to align them up to awareness, consideration, decision. Well, that worked when, again, there was a very simple buyer's model. But today, if everybody in that group of 10 people gets influenced by 28 steps to the form, now you have a matrix of 280 quadrants, if you will, versus 9, or a much smaller number, right?
Right.
So it doesn't work anymore because of the nonlinearity in buyer motion.
I agree.
And that's okay, right? There's ways to do this, but you just got to get away from the old models. That's all.
Right.
And so I don't want to, should I say it? B2B is dead? I don't know. But I said it. But, it's really not what we mean. It's just that the old frameworks are rusty and probably should be put in the scrapyard.
I connect to that so well, Steven, because in my video, I think 50% of my videos on my YouTube channel, I always say that buyer journey is non-linear. Buyers don't go from awareness, interest, consideration, decision. They go
Yeah.
back and forth, they hop, they dance around
Yeah.
it, and they don't move linearly like you would
Yeah.
think. Right? It's something that marketers created and put it on the deck, right?
Yeah. Well,
Right.
maybe it was
That's,
analyst too. We could throw under the bus as well. I don't know
of course.
today, but yeah, no, it's kind of funny, right? And
Right.
there's a lot of friction for marketing leaders because sometimes I get comments like this: "Steve, I never see your ads. What are you doing?
Because you're not supposed to see it. You're not my buyer.
Why would you see it? Because now I'm wasting money. You're not a buyer, right?" So anyway, we have a lot of battles to fight in the marketing leadership role,
Exactly.
Sajjan. So I think we
Exactly.
can help people more here today. Yeah.
If that's true, Stephen, then how do you personally evaluate what's signal and what's just noise, right?
Yeah.
Because when everyone is shouting for attention.
Yeah. Well, we try to use the best tools, and we go back to data. But just a bit about our stack. We're a big Marketo and Adobe shop, and we've rolled out Marketo Measure, which is the old visibility product, and it it really helps, right? Because what we're trying to figure out is not the ideal sequence. That's foolish. If there's 28 steps, I don't care about the sequence, but I sure care about the key trigger points. And I love that about your post, by the way. Trigger has a negative connotation, but it also has a positive connotation. If I'm a buyer and I put quality information in front of you and I trigger you to follow me, well, you're going to spend money and I want to get that money. So that's a win-win, right? So anyway, I just want to lean in on trigger. I really like the way you think, and I use a similar methodology. But long story short, we don't care if they go to Reddit first or LinkedIn second.
Right.
We just want to know that LinkedIn and Reddit are the places to be, right? So we piece together a thesis of wells where those people go to drink. And we think a lot about training all of our team members to always ask, Sajjan, you filled out the form. Before we dive in, tell me about your journey to the form. What's amazing to me is a lot of people are afraid to ask that question, but buyers are more and more proud of their journey to the form.
Wow.
And it gets into something that I believe in on a sociological side, which is accountability. And not for you or me, but for them. When they fill out that form, they have to justify that behavior because they know they're going to get called. They know they've opened the door for abuse from marketing and inside sales teams. So in sociology, that's actually called accountability because the human is accountable for their actions.
Right.
They feel
Right.
accountable, but you understand the point. So just to roll back, to give people, I talk to a lot of marketers. HubSpot equally has a lot of metadata analysis. We're seeing a lot of action with Gong, where we've deployed Gong at Stellar Cyber end to end. All of these tools work together. It's quite a job. The good news is no AI can replace marketing operations and revenue operations yet, Sajid. It can certainly help with data analysis, but you still need people to turn the gears, look at the
Absolutely.
data, and make adjustments.
Right.
We spend a lot of time with SEM and SEO, and we've learned some tricks on chatbots, getting the generative AI
Nice.
service to come to Stellar Cyber. So the good news is we've got a lot of analysis to figure this journey out. The bad news is it keeps changing. So just when we get it right, about every 3 months, it seems to change.
Right. Right. And what you said, Steve, is so smart because I know that a lot of marketers have this drop down where they ask, "How did you hear about us?" Right? Then there are some, you know, drop down whether it's Google or
Yeah,
referral,
yeah,
social media. But what you're doing is really pushing it up to the next level, right? You are asking, "Tell me about your buyer journey."
yeah,
And I think that very few marketers like you are doing it. And that's really smart. I want to start doing that in my role starting Monday, right? I mean, this is
right.
so smart. I really want to tell my inside sales team to start asking when they get this inbound lead, right? Because that could really help you in optimizing your landing page, optimizing the
Yeah,
buyer journey is phenomenal,
yeah. Well, hey, we don't get a perfect attribution.
right?
First of all, 30% of the people ask only. The other 70% are still afraid I'm wearing them down. I'll
Right,
shame them with this video cast.
right,
The form, we get about 30% of the people fill out the form and actually tell us how they
right,
found us, which is great.
right,
But it's a journey, and I think it's just education. I think marketing, we have to be educators, Sajid, and we have to push the envelope. And for me, it's an ROI story, and I get my CEO's air cover. I say, folks, if you don't answer that question, I don't know where to spend money to help you.
right,
So ask the question. And what's weird is people are just afraid, right? They're afraid that that's a bad question. And maybe 10 years ago it was, but now because people do spend so much time researching, especially under 40, there's a generative, no pun, there's a generational effect here where younger people grew up in digital. They're
right.
much more used to doing that analysis by themselves. And again, they're proud of the fact that they came to the forum. They've justified their behavior in their own mind.
I agree.
And,
Accountability. You spoke about it
and
earlier.
but my point is, I just want to challenge everybody today. If you just ask one prospect, you'll realize they didn't go, "Oh, that's weird." They said, "Well, thanks for asking. Here's why I came to you. This
Right,
is what I've learned. This is
right,
what I believe in." It's back to your point about some of the early TV ads. Hi, this is for the folks out there who push a broom. I didn't want to
right.
say a certain word, but and there's all this discussion today about trad wives and housewives and career
Absolutely.
people. It's so funny. My wife and I have this fun joke about it. But
Absolutely.
anyway, the point is that buyers are now so aware of their own buyer's journey. They want to share it with you if you ask, and that's a shame if you don't. We'll leave it
Right.
there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. And if that's true, right, Steven, then um, if a marketing team wants to stand out today, where should they actually focus on? And this is something that everybody asks me. Okay, every time I speak to a CEO or a CMO or somebody like that, they all want to know where should I focus? Should I focus on the message? Should I focus on the medium? Or is it the mindset? Is it the buyer perception? Where
Um,
positioning?
well, I have unfortunately, it's a classic answer in sales and marketing. It depends. So I have a little circle I use: demand, brand,
Right,
and message.
Right.
And around the circle, it says constant measurement, constant improvement. And I created that many, many years ago to help influence my boss, because I usually go into a Series A startup when each cycle. And I've been at Stellar Cyber almost 7 years, so we're well past that. But I have to help usually a new engineering-oriented entrepreneur understand how does marketing work, and
Right.
why am I going to ask them for money? And more importantly, how am I going to show them I made use of that money that was valuable? So I tend to find that I might get my message right out of that circle, and then I run with that message for a while, and I'm honing my demand campaigns, and I'm doing some selective branding. And then 4 months later, somebody big in the market changes their story that everybody reacts to. So I have to go back and retool my message. And this happens to us in cybersecurity, which moves very fast every 3 to 6 months.
Right.
So we're always just going around the circle. And it's not right or wrong, Sajid. It's just recognition that you can't fix all four wheels on the car. If you're moving 50 miles an hour, you pick the one that's the most flat, then
Right.
assess, right? And again, if you're always measuring, you'll figure out what your weak spot is.
Correct. Correct. So that kind of brings to a very important question, right? As a leader, as a marketing leader, as somebody who owns marketing for Stellar Cyber and in your different roles, how do you balance speed with depth, right? Especially when everyone wants instant results,
Yeah.
right? Nobody has time
Well,
to wait 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, right? They want instant results, right? It's
right.
dollar
Well,
in,
they do.
speed out.
And by the way, that even though the latency in the funnel is increased, the desire for speed is still there from everybody, including board,
Right,
all the
right,
investors.
right.
Well, there's one piece of the puzzle that's changed the last 3 years, and that was we always used to rely on central product marketing, who was a very skilled person, very unique person to create all the content,
Mm-hmm,
and that was a huge bottleneck. That
mm-hmm,
bottleneck's been removed. Very savvy product marketers now know
mm-hmm.
they can do a lot of base writing with generative AI. Pick your
Agree.
LLM bot, and if you do it right, set up the bot right over data that you isolated so that it doesn't go out and get competitors' information or hallucinate like that. You can get really great results. We write white papers now in 5 minutes. We change forwards after we read it, so we know how to get good content, and that's step one, and that's a huge bottleneck. The second big problem, though, is still digital takes a long time to tune. We haven't figured this one out yet. When we launch a new campaign around a new set of keywords, give it a long tail or a topical idea, it still takes 30, 60, 90 days to really fine tune that campaign and figure out what ad messaging, what content, and what mini journey. Can a microsite landing page with an asset and a form still work, or do they need to have multiple touch points? That takes time. We still don't know how to do that in shorter than 90 days. And the other aspect of it is connecting physical and virtual events, Sajja. Now, this may be different in every industry, so I want to put a pin on that. But in cyber, everybody says the same thing. Everybody says, I stop all your threats quickly. Please buy my software. So prospects know this. So you have to go to physical events or to events that could be virtual, where the demonstration of the product is meaningful as a touch point in those 20 plus steps to the form. You can't just do pure digital. I would love to do pure digital. My CEO would love to shut down all these expensive, bulky, ROI heavy. Yes, they generate ROI, but they're there's just logistics and people and T&E and but the only way to cut through sometimes is to look somebody in the eye and say, Sajid, what's your team look like? Oh, how do you do ransomware reporting right now? Let me show you how we do it. And they go, oh, well, that is a lot easier, Steve. I believe you now, right? So we
Right.
have to find, cross-connect a multi-step digital journey with touch points that validate the software. And that's hard to do without a physical event still.
Right. And in today's scenario, Steve, there are so many options for marketers, right? I say that there are almost like 30 plus vehicles, whether it's affiliates, events,
Yeah.
meetups, and there are so many decisions that you have to make from a positioning standpoint, whether you should lead with this feature or that feature or outcome
Yeah.
or benefit. So, what
Yeah.
what is a decision? I want to talk about a decision that you made, looked risky at that time when you made that decision, but turned out to be absolutely right? And if you want to also talk about your failure, go ahead and talk about it, right? I would love to.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, that's a good question. It kind of ties a lot of this together. So in our space, something called XDR, extended detection and response, became a keyword, a buzzword, an acronym, all at the same time in 2023. And we had a claim on XDR to be open. We were open XDR. A few other vendors, Palo Alto, Trend Micro, were XDR, which meant it was closed, which meant it wasn't open for modification. So by naming, we also invited a unique audience. But what happened, Satyan, is different analysts got involved and started to write notes and define what it meant. And it created a lot of chaos in the industry to the point where in 2024, a lot of our trending went down. People got confused. They said, oh, I already have this from CrowdStrike. I don't need Stellar Cyber. And whoa, our SEO, our inbound web leads, messaging in the first meeting, even the old elevator pitch, all were starting to cause immediate rejection of motion, if you will. I mean, everything slowed down. And we had to get past ourselves, even though we were one of the inventors and the first adopters of this term. We had to let go and completely detune our website, completely retrain sales, completely pull back on peppering it into all of our advertising and email. But you know what? After we did that and grabbed some of the newer ways to express what we do, and by the way, it's more human speak anyway. Can you imagine saying, someone walking down the street of your city, what do? I sell XDR. Talk about a narrow message, getting back to branding. But if I say, well, we sell an open and unifying security operations platform, it's a little wordy, but I've explained not only what is it, but some of the value of it. And that was one change. Another one that's underfoot right now in cybersecurity is this whole run towards autonomous SOCs or AI SOC. A SOC is a security operations center. It's a room or a building or an ethos that people are working together, looking at screens, making security decisions. And is it going to be autonomous or AI? So this one, I'll just share, we're split across both. We're still doing search on both. We're still doing advertising on both in very key narrow channels to save money, but the market hasn't decided which one is right yet. But security and IT always will settle on an acronym at some point. So right now we have to spend money on both, unfortunately.
Right. No, I agree, Steve.
Question, was that giving you the kind of detail you were looking for?
No, exactly, Steve. So I always tell that the challenge of coming up with a new category is, if your audience, if your buyer doesn't understand it, then they reject it. They need a relative category where they can put your product, right?
Right.
It is not easy to come up with a new category and be successful.
No, it's not. And again, it gets back to sociology. And actually, there's a great book out there. I don't know if you ever read the 22 Immutable Laws book written in the 70s.
I did.
But I think it's a wonderful primer. If you're getting into marketing, folks, and you want to know what should I read first, read 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing. It's wonderful because it talks about all these simple concepts at a very high level, just to get your head around things.
Right. And even the other one, right? Alries and Jack Trout, the positioning, Battle of Mind, right? That's another book.
The same guys wrote both books, right?
Right.
We're talking about relevant concepts.
Right.
And what's different is the digital landmines and the fact that people are doing this more. Again, back in the day, those people were all branded to by TV ads and newspaper ads. And today, we turn those digital knobs to find them. But again, there's more sociology here, Sajid. It's
Right.
this idea of the narrative is so important, and we all know it, right? Speak my language. I'm a
Exactly.
CEO. Don't talk to me like I'm a salesperson. I'm a salesperson. Don't talk to me like I'm an engineer. You have to figure this stuff out. The buyer persona is real, and they
Right.
want to be talked to the way they speak. Otherwise, they're
Yeah.
not going to hear it, right?
Right.
So, again, it's sociology. Some people call that sense making, but if you get deep, it's called reflexivity. But
Uh-huh.
it's just how people respond to what's around them, right? So, again, there's
Right.
deep science in a lot of what we're talking to. It's not just anecdotal.
Right.
There's human behavior on the table that if you understand, it helps your job. So,
Right.
and that's again why we met. We have a shared passion for these types of things, Sajid. So,
That's
yeah,
so true. That's true. You
it
you
is.
spoke about what newcomers and what new marketers should read about, and that's my
Yeah.
next question actually. That if you were starting your career today, right, what would you completely ignore, even if everyone else was doing it?
I'd start. I think people should really understand search engine optimization and search engine marketing. Um, as silly as that may seem, but again, when I started out, you I don't know how old people think we are here, Sajid, But this was before even Salesforce. Let's just put it that way. Salesforce is
Right.
about 20 years old. So
Right.
people with
Right.
business cards in their pocket and physical trade shows were the only real way to reach people. So people don't understand digital as much as they should. And it's almost like a black art, and it's a shame because it's not a black art. It's not magic. It just takes time. I think the counterintuitive thing about search and search engine marketing is that it should be instantaneous, right? Well, if I'm spending money on Google, why don't I see ads right away? Well, again, it gets back to that annoying thing about the algorithms in digital. It takes 30 days to sort of get your first wave of ads, get your first wave of content, and your first wave of journey assets, whether it be a landing page or what have you. And then you tune, and the algorithms help you tune, thank goodness. But you can tune toward branding, meaning I just want eyeballs to click, or you can
Right.
tune towards form fill out, and you know what I mean. And anybody on the YouTube here who does this knows that you can tune. So you have to optimize for what you're looking for, mofu, tofu. You have to optimize for what kind of lead you're looking for. This is a real science that I find that I wish there was a school on. There are great Google partners. There are great agencies. You train people every day. You send out a podcast, but this is why we're here. There is no book on it. There is no PhD on it. It's trench warfare, and it's a shame because it's my biggest spend. It should be everybody's biggest spend. You asked about focus. We didn't answer that question explicitly. I put a tremendous amount of time and money into digital, and we should because we have to. But again, you learn it through failure. There's no chemistry book on how atoms collide in a petri dish to make water, right? It's unfortunately learned in the trenches daily.
Great. Great. And I agree that so if digital skills are one such skill, what are the other skills you think are important for marketers? What skills do you think marketers think are important but actually aren't anymore?
Oh, okay. So that's a two-part question. Well, I think field and event marketing is still extremely important, especially in cyber. And those
Right.
skills are good and they're out there. People there's a profession, right? You've got the trade show certification program, field marketers with experience, and again, you need to tie these things together. So working with sales, building plans, measuring outcomes, building funnel. That's been going on forever. It's still real, and again in cyber, I pointed out it's essential. I think managing up and setting expectations is a lost art in marketing that needs to be done daily. Same thing, right? Why don't I see the ads, Steve? Well, if you did, I'd be wasting money. I'm talking to my boss or my peers in sales, for example. So I think um, management culture and building teams is hard. And that's a skill that we have to learn or get mentored. But there should be a boot camp. How do you build brand internally? How do you get sales to love you? How do you get your boss to give you money? Now, the things that I think that was what's left. What if I stopped doing in marketing? Uh, I and I still see people doing it, but big branding makes people feel good, but I don't think it's actionable, right? I in fact, I know some of the guys at Barracuda that did the amazing Barracuda ads in the '90s. That was still almost a marketing case study. Some people on the call will remember this. There was a time where Barracuda had a new box. It was a type of a firewall in a box for small medium businesses, and you could just roll it out, plug it, and go. And they said, if we get everybody to call in to resellers, that's how we'll generate sales, not go to end user shows. It worked, but it was a timing thing. I've asked those people, I know those people, I said, guys, in today's noisy market, would you do that again? And they sit back in their chairs and they're very people and they say, no. Right? So
Yeah.
sometimes the historical
Yeah.
ideas don't
Yeah.
work anymore.
It doesn't work.
Right. Well, think about it too. I mean, if you're hitting SMB or SME, who would let you spend millions of dollars for the year that it would take just in North America to hit all the major airports, hoping that you're hitting enough of those clients that they're going to call a reseller and say, I want that thing I saw in the airport. I just don't see it working in today's noisy environment. So we got to let go of some of the things that we learned when we were kids,
Right, right. And what would you say? What is that one capability you believe will separate great marketers from average ones, right? And we are talking about, let's say, next 1 year, 3 years, and all that, because there's no way to see beyond that, right? The
Oh
innovation is
my,
happening at a breakneck speed, right? So I don't
yeah,
want to be too much long term, but yeah,
no kidding. I don't want to go past 1 year, frankly.
I agree. I agree.
I think 1 year is hard enough. I think great marketers will be embracing, as much as we're all worried about being doomed by AI in 10 years. The more you embrace it now, it's a gift, because AI can take away all the early tasks that make it hard for marketing teams to get up and go. Simple example, I can write a white paper in 5 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
And I can now test an asset quickly, right? There's a lot of great tools out there that are building the metadata and the
Yeah,
tagging and connecting the dots. And again, AI is better at analysis of finding the needles in the haystack than humans are. So we're embracing AI. Again, Marketo Measure is a decent example of that. Third is the AI SDR bots, right? If we know at Stellar Cyber, my inside sales team, it takes them 15 to 20 touch points to get a cold database prospect to respond. And that's LinkedIn, that's email, that's phone mailing. Why not offload some of those first steps to a bot until the human gives you a sense that it's not more than, oh, thanks, or hi back. Sure, I'll follow you. If it gets more intelligent, like Steve, that white paper was really helpful. Do you have one that would be more tuned for my CFO? Whoa, at that moment, I would bring a human in, right? But to get to that moment might be 12 boring touch points that anybody can do. Therefore, have a bot do it. I think the technology is here to help us as lean marketing teams move faster
right,
if we learn, experiment, and build some trust.
right.
And we're doing it. So we believe.
Great. That's
Sorry.
lovely, right? I think adopting technology, adopting AI is really
Yeah.
the number one capability
Yeah.
for marketers to be in that top 1% or
Agree.
5%. Right?
Yeah.
And I want to shift my gear here and then talk about your book, right? So you have decided to put your thinking in a book. Why now, right? Because what gap are you trying to fill?
Well, it was an idea from a person that, is been special to me. I've been fortunate, Sanjay. I've got executive coaching throughout my life, and one person, she said, Susie Woodward Morris, I'll give her a shout out. She said, you really need intellectual property, Steve, it's back to that, what makes a marketer marketing special, right? I got attracted to you because you said meaningful things, Sanjay, that touched me. And I said, I feel that. I know that. This guy knows what he's talking about. So number one, it's part of your brand. So develop your personal brand. And so to me, it was a journey, but it was a journey. And a lot of people, I've mentioned it, they go, oh, I don't even know what to write about. I go, well, sit on a park bench and reflect upon, what do you know how to do? And is there something that's worth packaging and sharing? And I had been struggling with this until my younger brother hit me literally a year ago with a segment of sociology that I had never heard about. And he said, hey, this stuff has been around since the 60s, but it sounds like it's very appropriate to digital marketing. And he didn't say it that way, but once I read up on it, I realized it explained a lot of the historical trending that we've discussed. It explained a lot of the anecdotal beliefs that we all have in marketing. But it proved to me it's not data and analytical, it's science, that humans behave a certain way. And it's just another element of thought, right? I mean, why isn't it shameful that we all say, well, you need an ROI white paper because at some point in the journey, a customer wants to understand what value you bring to their company. And we all know we need to do that. We all know we need to speak the customer voice. But when you dig into human behavior, well, I'll just throw the guy's name out, as Harold Garfinkel invented the science. And it's a terrible name, but it's called ethnomethodology. It's the science of people in the moment. Again, in the 60s, this guy was a little bit frowned upon. Today, it's like, well, isn't that what digital marketing is? In the moment, right? So a lot of dots connected for me, Sachin, and I thought it would be fun to write the book. We're using the tactics in Stellar Cyber. My younger brother has a side business. He's using the tactics. I think it just helps you frame up a thesis differently, and it allows you to test the thesis now with something that's more than anecdotal, and that should make people have a better funnel. I think it's that simple.
And when you showed me, I think I was really impressed, and I think it's come out very nice. It's phenomenal what you have done in your book, and I would really encourage everyone to grab a copy whenever it's out. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, stay tuned.
But I also want to talk about, Steve, who should read this book and who shouldn't.
Well, Sajjan, it's at version 4, and I'm actually searching for a literary agent right now. So if there's any literary agents out there, I'm looking. And if that doesn't go well by January 2026, I'll just publish it on Kindle. But I've been sort of bouncing around between being greedy and wanting it to be a million book seller, a New York Times bestseller, and everybody reads it, to really helping people understand there are simple tactics and strategy that make better building. So the first fact is I wanted to do it for myself and just be proud that I wrote a book. My younger brother's a prof at Texas A&M. He's written 10 books. So, little brother fish in there. And number 2, it's kind of fun when you meet people. I'm in the world of VCs in Silicon Valley. So hi, I'd like to just give you a copy of my book. My teams, I'll always make them read the book. So I think if you like the way that Sachin and I are talking, and you want to have a little bit of an enlightening moment that there's science behind our craft, you should read my book. I don't know how many people that is. Is that?
Let's talk about this, right? Let's talk about, Steve. What is that one idea from your book, right? If someone remembers only one idea from your book in 5 years, what do you hope it is?
I hope that people still remember, no matter how much AI bot trickery we're talking about, and automation and 28 steps or whatever, it's still a person decided to take an action to move farther down getting their company to buy a product. We cannot forget it's still and will always be about people. This is the fundamental idea of my book.
Right. This has been
Yeah.
fun, Steven. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, and it has been a pleasure. And I look forward to hosting you again sometime in the future. Thanks again,
All
Steve.
right. You're welcome, Sajin. I read your newsletters with joy, and I always find a nugget in there. So keep up the good work yourself.
Sure, Steve.
Thank you.